Welcome back to Analysis Hub. Tonight, we are not looking at a normal European knockout match. We are looking at one of those games where the scoreboard tells you one thing, but the feeling tells you something much heavier. Bayern Munich did not collapse. They did not disappear. They fought until the final seconds. Harry Kane scored late. Manuel Neuer kept them alive with experience, timing, and pure stubbornness. The Allianz Arena pushed, roared, and believed. But football at this level is cruel. It does not reward effort alone. It rewards timing. It rewards clarity. It rewards the team that understands the decisive moment before the opponent does. And in this tie, that team was Paris Saint Germain. The situation is this. Bayern Munich came home needing to turn pressure into control. They had already been hurt in the first leg, and the margin was thin enough to create belief. At the Allianz Arena, with Harry Kane, Jamal Musiala, Michael Olise, Luis Diaz, and Joshua Kimmich on the pitch, Bayern Munich had enough attacking quality to believe they could break Paris Saint Germain. But Paris Saint Germain arrived with a different kind of threat. They were not perfect. They were not even at full strength. Achraf Hakimi was missing. Lucas Chevalier was not available. Luis Enrique had to adjust, with Warren Zaire-Emery used in a deeper defensive role, and Matvei Safonov trusted in goal. On paper, there were weaknesses, but this is where elite teams reveal themselves. Not when everything is comfortable, but when the structure is under stress and the pressure is already waiting before the whistle. And almost immediately, Paris Saint Germain changed the entire game. Fabian Ruiz opened the play to the left. Kvicha Kvaratskhelia moved into space with that dangerous calm he always carries. The calm of a player who does not need to rush because he already sees the next picture. He waited, looked inside, and delivered the pass. Ousmane Dembele arrived and finished. Just like that, the Allianz Arena went from belief to anxiety. That early goal was not just a goal. It was a tactical punch and a psychological wound. Bayern Munich wanted to start fast, push Paris Saint Germain back, and create panic. Instead, they were the ones forced into a deeper chase. They did not just need a goal anymore. They needed to recover the rhythm, recover the crowd, recover their own emotional balance. But here is the problem. When you concede that early in a match of this size, the opponent does not only lead on the scoreboard, they begin to control your decisions. Bayern Munich had to attack, but every attack carried risk. Michael Olise tried to come inside from the right, looking for the angle. Luis Diaz attacked from the left, trying to stretch the back line. Jamal Musiala kept receiving in tight spaces, turning, twisting, searching for that small crack between defenders. Harry Kane moved in and out of the box, trying to connect the play and still arrive as the finisher. There was energy, there was urgency, there was pressure. But the final action was not clean enough. Bayern Munich kept arriving near the danger zone, but Paris Saint Germain kept surviving the most important touch. The evidence suggests Bayern Munich did many things well. They pushed the game into the Paris Saint Germain half. They forced defensive work. They made the crowd believe again in certain spells. But Champions League football is not measured only by territory. It is measured by damage. Bayern Munich knocked on the door more often. Paris Saint Germain hit less often, but when they hit, it hurt more. That is the difference between pressure and punishment. Bayern Munich had pressure. Paris Saint Germain had punishment. And this is where Matvei Safonov deserves real credit. Before the match, his presence in goal could have been seen as a vulnerability. In a stadium like the Allianz Arena, against a team that knows how to attack in waves, a goalkeeper can shrink. Safonov did not shrink. He stayed composed. He did not look like a player waiting for the mistake to happen. He looked like a goalkeeper prepared to live inside the pressure. But this was not just about one goalkeeper. Marquinhos and Willian Pacho threw themselves into dangerous areas. Nuno Mendes had to suffer defensively and still offer running power when Paris Saint Germain had space. João Neves and Vitinha fought in midfield to stop Bayern Munich from turning every loose ball into another attack. Paris Saint Germain did not win beautifully for every minute. They won painfully. Sometimes, that kind of win tells you more about a team, because the second half became exactly the kind of test that separates talented teams from mature teams. Bayern Munich pushed harder. Joshua Kimmich searched for quicker passes. Harry Kane kept demanding service. Michael Olise and Luis Diaz kept trying to isolate defenders. The tempo increased, but so did the tension. And Paris Saint-Germain made a very intelligent choice. They did not try to dominate every phase. They accepted suffering. They dropped deeper when they had to. They allowed Bayern Munich to have possession in certain areas, but they protected the central danger zone. Then, when the ball was recovered, they looked immediately toward Kvicha Kvaratskhelia and Desiree Doué. That was the threat Bayern Munich could never ignore. Even while chasing the tie, they knew one bad pass could become the goal that ended everything. That is why Manuel Neuer remained so important. He had to keep Bayern Munich alive not just as a goalkeeper, but as a final insurance policy against transition. Paris Saint Germain had moments where one better pass, one cleaner touch, one sharper finish could have ended the tie before Bayern Munich found their late response. And this is the strange truth of the match. Bayern Munich were the team chasing. Bayern Munich were the team pressing. Bayern Munich were the team with the stadium behind them. But the more open the match became, the more dangerous Paris Saint Germain looked. They carried fear in fewer actions. That is what speed does when it is connected to intelligence. Then came Harry Kane. Late in added time, Alphonso Davies put the ball in, and Kane did what elite strikers do. He adjusted his body, found the finish, and gave Bayern Munich one final breath. The Allianz Arena exploded because that goal felt like a declaration. It said Bayern Munich were still alive. It said Harry Kane was still there. It said the story was not finished yet. But in reality, time had already become the enemy. Bayern Munich still needed another goal, and there was almost no time left to create it. Kane did his job. He reminded everyone why a striker of his level can never be ignored. But his goal also made the regret worse, because it arrived too late. It showed what Bayern Munich needed earlier, and what they could not produce consistently enough when the match was still fully within reach. After the match, the discussion naturally turned toward the refereeing decisions. Bayern Munich had reasons to feel angry. There were handball situations involving Nuno Mendes and João Neves that left players and supporters demanding more. Bayern Munich wanted a second yellow card in one moment and a penalty in another. The referee did not give it. The video review did not change it. And when you lose a tie by the smallest possible margin, these moments do not disappear. They become part of the emotional memory of the defeat. But here is where we need to be careful. It is too easy to say Bayern Munich were simply robbed. That might satisfy the anger, but it does not explain the whole match. Were Bayern Munich unlucky with some decisions? They can absolutely feel that way. Were the handball interpretations frustrating? Yes. Modern handball rules often create confusion because supporters want consistency, not perfection. But even with those arguments, Bayern Munich still have to ask a harder question. Why did they not score earlier? Why did all that pressure not become control? Why did Paris Saint Germain create so much fear with fewer attacks? Vincent Kompany understood that balance after the match. He could defend his players. He could point to the narrow margin. He could feel that certain decisions went against Bayern Munich. But he also knew the result could not be reduced to the referee alone. Manuel Neuer said something important as well. Bayern Munich had chances, but they did not show enough killer instinct in attack. That is the line that matters. Because when a club like Bayern Munich reaches this stage, standards are not built around effort. They are built around execution. Fighting hard is expected. Creating pressure is expected. The difference is whether you can turn those moments into goals before panic enters the game. For Paris Saint Germain, this match felt like another step in their evolution. Ousmane Dembele and Kvicha Kvaratskhelia gave them the decisive attacking moment. But the story is bigger than two attackers. It is about a team learning how to survive. It is about Luis Enrique building a side that can play with style, but also accept ugly minutes. It is about midfielders willing to suffer without the ball. It is about defenders protecting the box when the stadium is shaking. It is about a goalkeeper handling doubt and pressure in the same night. Paris Saint Germain used to be judged as a team of stars. In this game, they looked more like a team with a system, and that matters for the final against Arsenal. Arsenal will look at this match and see both warning signs and opportunities. They will see that Paris Saint Germain can suffer under pressure. They will see that Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard can make the midfield uncomfortable if Arsenal press with discipline. They will see that Bukayo Saka can test the wide areas. But they will also understand the danger. Against Paris Saint Germain, a mistake is not just a mistake. It can become a goal within seconds. That is the standard now. You cannot attack them carelessly. You cannot switch off after losing the ball. You cannot assume control just because you have possession. So let us bring this together. Bayern Munich fought with pride, but Paris Saint Germain survived with maturity. Harry Kane scored too late. Ousmane Dembele scored early enough to bend the entire tie. Manuel Neuer resisted. Matvei Safonov answered doubt. Luis Enrique adjusted. Vincent Kompany was left with frustration and questions. And that is why this match feels bigger than one result. It tells us that elite football is not only about talent, it is about standards under stress. It is about trust when plans are damaged. It is about stability when the match becomes emotional. Bayern Munich now have to rebuild from the pain of almost doing enough. Paris Saint Germain move forward because they did just enough at the moments that mattered most. And in the end, that is the lesson. At this level, belief must become precision. Pressure must become goals. Talent must become a reliable structure. Because the future of a club is not decided only by the nights when everything flows. It is decided by nights like this, when the margins are brutal, the emotions are heavy, and only the most stable team survives. That team was Paris Saint Germain. And now the question is simple. Can they carry that same coldness into the final? Or will Arsenal become the wall they cannot break?